Kia ora Year 11 and 12. This is the fourth question from the start of year Algebra Review, very much targeted at level 1, easy level 1 questions. The first one we looked at was 2x plus 5 equals x minus 7. So I'm going to do this one really slowly like you would have learnt it in year 9, but we won't be writing out all those steps when we're doing them now because these will feel pretty automatic. The big idea is of doing the opposite operation so that eventually we wind back to just having x equals a number. So first, and there's no one correct first way obviously, but we'll take 5 from both sides. Right, so when you very first learnt how to solve problems like this, this is how you did it. Over here, I've got nothing left now. So I've got 2x on the left-hand side, and I've got x minus 12 over here. Now I want to collect up my like terms. I want to have all of the x's on one side. So I'm now going to take x from both sides. And that leaves me with 1x over here on the left and just negative 12 on the right. Okay, so that was 4 lines of working. Now if I had a year 9 student who did it like that, I would be so proud of them. I'd tell them that was fabulous, but now I want us doing that a little more quickly, and it's going to look like this. So 2x plus 5 equals x minus 7. So mentally the next thing we're going to do is subtract x from both sides. So we get x plus 5 equals negative 7. And now the next thing we're going to do is subtract 5 from both sides. So we get x equals negative 12. Right, so I'd say that was pretty good working. It's always fine to put those extra lines in, but you'll find that you need a little bit more speed this year, and you need these skills to be automatic. Okay, on to part B. Right, now B, I have to say, was not very well done this year. We've got x plus 1 all over 3 is equal to x take away 1. When you see that fraction sign, I want you to think about invisible brackets around whatever's in the top. Sometimes that can help. The first thing we're going to do is multiply both sides through by 3. Right, we're doing the same thing to both sides. So here we're going to have x plus 1 on the left-hand side, and we're multiplying the whole of that right-hand side by 3. So it's 3 times x minus 1. Now we'll expand that out. We get 3x minus 3. Next we do the same thing we did before. We're going to collect the x's together and we're going to collect the y's together. So I'm going to start by subtracting the x off both sides. We get 1 equals 2x take away 3. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. 4 equals 2x. And lastly, I'm going to divide by 2. So 2 equals x. That looks weird, so we'll write it as x equals 2. That's fine, of course, but this makes me happy. Right, next one is an inequality. Right, we've got 5 take away 2y is less than 3. Now the big thing we have to remember here is that whenever we multiply or divide by a negative number, if we've got an inequation, we have to switch the sign around. And just looking at why that is, suppose that we had the equation negative 2x is greater than 8. So let's draw a number line and say, well, what values of x are going to work for that? Just intuitively. Let's have a look. If I've got 0, is negative 2 times 0 bigger than 8? No, it's not. So that's not in my solution set. We know negative 4 is going to be an interesting one. So negative 2 times negative 4 is equal to positive 8. So that's not in my solution set, but any number that is back here will be. Okay, so if I have negative 2 times negative 5, that's going to give me 10. Now that is bigger than 8, so I want that in my answer. So practically speaking, what we need to do is to say that when we're dividing both sides by negative 2, we can have 8 divided by negative 2, the sign must reverse, and that gives me, for my solution here, x is less than negative 4. So that's the idea that we're going to apply whenever we're working with linear inequations, or any inequation. Always be careful if it's a positive or a negative number that you're multiplying or dividing with. Okay, first thing I'll do here is I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So we get negative 2y is less than 3 take away 5. Negative 2y is less than negative 2. Right, what do I do next? Well, I'm dividing by a negative number, so I need to switch my sign and do this. So our final answer is y is greater than 1. Now, with any equation, it's worth checking back, but with these, it's really, really useful. Let's put in y equals 2, and we'll just see if it works. Right, so you do a quick check. 5 take away 2 2's are 4 is equal to 1, which is less than 3. Okay, happy face. There we go. All right. Sorry, the laughing in the background is my daughter who wants to watch algebra at the weekend. Right, on to the next one, which is solving a quadratic. So this is a year 10 quadratic. Right, so when we see that, we should think straight away that I'm looking for two factors. I'm going to have a d times a d to generate that d squared term. Now I look at my sign pattern. I've got a plus 3 here and a plus here. So in here I want to have a plus and a plus. I want two numbers that multiply to give me 3 and add to give me 4. So those numbers are going to be 3 and 1. So we put those in here. But we're not finished yet because I didn't just ask you to factorise, I asked you to solve this equation. Now, we want something times something equals 0. So either d plus 3 equals 0 or d plus 1 equals 0. So the solutions are d equals negative 3 or d equals negative 1. So there you go. That's the answer to part D of question 4. I'll put the answers for 5 and 6 up shortly.